Pierce, Pierce was the third of our 3 children.
I'm the oldest, and then Connor is my middle brother, and Pierce was my youngest brother.
He kept us on our toes since the moment he came into this world.
I'm not gonna lie, when my parents said, you know, oh, we're having a baby, you know, me and Connor were not sure about it, but you know, he came along and just like any younger sibling, just wanted to tag along and just be with us, whatever we were doing.
He was our active child. He wanted to be involved in everything, always. The other 2 were involved in a lot too, but he seemed to be much more, we would say, he's kind of our third. Like there's 2 of us, we're outnumbered with Pierce, and he was like having a couple of other children.
He looked at things really simple. You know, there's right and there's wrong. And but he was a good kid. He was just starting to develop into a young man. And he'd met a girl that he was crazy about. She was crazy about him. They'd been dating about 6 months. He'd bought her a ring.
He would always make a point when you would call him, even if he was busy, he wanted to talk to you. He made you feel special, and just, I loved spending time with him.
I work for the fire department in the city of Knoxville, and like all firemen, we have side jobs. My brother has a company that I was working with him, which takes equipment to the bowl games, the football games. So I had just done the Nashville Music City Bowl, and then I was on my way to Memphis to do the Liberty Bowl. With the fire department, I get pages, you know, because my position with the fire department is the public information officer. I'm the liaison to the media. So I will get pages, and it will say, hey, this is going on. We've got a working fire. We've got, and there's a bad wreck on Chapman Highway. I knew Pierce traveled that road, but I didn't really think. I thought, you know, what are the odds? But anytime that I get a page like that, being a father, you call and you try to check on your children, call your wife, and you check with everybody, and then you start the hen counting. And so I called her and I said, "If you talk to Pierce," I said, and she was, "Why?" I said, "Well, there's a wreck on Chapman Highway." I said, "We need to check on him, make sure he's okay." And she said, "Well, I tried to call him earlier, but I hadn't heard anything." So a little time goes by, so I text him. I said, "Hey, Pierce, give us a shout, bad wreck on Chapman Highway. Just let me or Mom know, that so we won't worry about you." And I didn't get a response. So I was getting a little irritated because he is 22, and a lot of times he's winging us, you know, from being so hovering. And so a little bit more time went by, and I started to text again. I was like, "All right, fine, just let us worry. Don't think about us." And then I erased it because I thought, well, no, I'm not going to send that. He's 22, and he needs to, you know, we're maybe a little over the top and trying to watch out for him, and he's trying to get his freedom a little bit too. And then I always have my other phone with me, which is my personal phone, and I got a text from my son-in-law that just said, "Pray for Avery's family. Her brother's been in a bad wreck." And it was a group text, and I don't know that he knew that I was on that group. And I saw that, and I thought, oh God, please no. So I called Wendy, and when she answered the phone, she was hysterical.
I get a knock on the door, and so I go to the door, and it's the fire chief, my husband's boss, the chaplain of our police department, and another firefighter. And they proceed to tell me that my son had been involved in an accident, but in their next words were, "and he didn't make it." And so, you know, of course I fell to my knees, and then my next thought was, how am I going to tell his father? He's across the state. I cannot tell him over the phone. He cannot drive back. You know, just thinking about how, you know, and my other 2 children trying to, how do you say those words? How am I going to repeat the words that I just heard?
I just remember, I said, "Wendy, please tell me no. Tell me he's okay." And she couldn't even talk to me. I said, "Put somebody on the phone that can talk to me. I'm in a hotel room on the other side of the state." And Tim was there with her. I said, "Tim, please, God, please tell me he's going to be okay. Tell me he's okay. He didn't make it." And I lost it. I absolutely lost it. I don't even remember. I mean, it was so hard. And I just wanted to be with my family. and trying to get home. And I had a job there that I was trying to do. I called the producer and told him, I said, I've got your equipment here. And he said, I told him the situation. He said, you take that truck and you take that equipment and you get back to Knoxville. And I said, no. I said, I can't change what's happened in Knoxville. I said, but I can make your day better tomorrow. And I won't be here to operate it, but you can find somebody, but at least the equipment's here for you. And I said, I'm going to leave the keys here in the hotel lobby at the front desk.
And then my father's in the next room. And so immediately Pierce and my father were very close, very close. I mean, he's close with all our children, but they were especially close. And my father walked into the room and he saw me and what, you know. And so I had to tell him right there. And that broke my heart, just as much as hearing the news. But they took us to the ER, to the trauma unit at UT Medical Center, and I saw my son intubated and lying there. And he looked, he had a gash on his head, but other than that, he looked like he was sleeping, which was, for Pierce, being still was not something you ever saw him do. So that I knew, I knew it really is true. I knew he really was gone.
We went, I guess, to the impound lot where it was held, and the passenger side and the back were, they looked fine, but all on his side and the windshield. And I literally had to, his journal was wedged up between the windshield and the dash. I had to yank it, and just glass everywhere. And never forget that. I mean, his hat and the passenger side and the floor. And, I just remember opening it there, you know, because my parents were trying to get everything in the car, and his phone and everything. And just remember seeing those words, this is my life, and you know, my actions still matter. And that just really stuck out to me. And I just, you know, I was like, it's true.
When I got home, they brought me to their house. I didn't get to see Pierce that night, which in some ways is probably a blessing. We try to find the good in everything. And I don't know that I could have handled that, seeing him laying there with the tubes and all the devices that were trying to save his life still in his body. I did see him the next day at the morgue, and that was tough. And I remember just looking at it, my baby, and just laying there, and it was hard. So that's how I found out.
It's still new, and we are still dealing with the reality every day that there's not going to be another family picture with him in it, another vacation with him there, another holiday, another birthday. So for us, it's the worst time that we've ever had to face. So.
We don't have hate toward the person that killed our son. It was an accident, but it was neglect. It was neglect on his responsibilities. He didn't take responsibility for his actions. He had no driver's license. He had no insurance. The vehicle that he was driving was a third-party vehicle. There was word that he even tried to leave the scene because he knew he was here illegally. So you put all that together, and you hear the stories from other families and like stories, and the same things have happened. Some of theirs were brutally murdered, though. We tried to go and meet with Pelosi, and we tried to meet with Schumer, and of course they either weren't there, or their pages, their attendants out front said that they weren't. They were behind their walls, ironically.
To us, it was just about, you know, sharing Pierce's story and just making people aware of a problem that exists in our country.
We buried our son Pierce 2 weeks ago, so this is all, I guess for us, it's still becoming a new reality for us every day, but coming to Washington felt like we were being led by him, to speak for him.
Just wanted to speak from the heart, and you know, when we went up there to try to talk to Schumer and Pelosi, we just wanted them to listen, you know, to the human aspect of it and our side of it as victims.
If we were able to meet with them, I would honestly like to sit down with them and try to understand where they're coming from. And what I would say to them is please, from our perspective of a victim, is put your differences aside, your political differences aside, and look at this as a whole. We're a country. We're not, I mean, yeah, we're made up of different, you know, blues and reds, Republicans, Democrats, left wing, right wing, but put those differences aside and protect your people. Fences aren't put up because you hate the people that are outside the fence. It's because you love the people inside and you try to protect them.
If I were able to talk to Miss Pelosi, I would just say, you know, my parents have lost a son, I've lost a brother. I mean, so many of his friends have lost their best friend, and I would just want to just come at her from a human standpoint. I want to understand why there's so much opposition towards the wall. Is it just because I know that it's kind of become called Trump's wall, but it's like, it's really more for everyone. It's for the American people, and just, I'd like to sit down in a civil manner and really just talk to her and try and understand what her viewpoints are on this, why this opposition to it.